I'm live. You're live. Welcome back, everybody, on a Friday night. This is April 1st. Is this an April Fool's joke? You'll have to decide yourself. About 6 o'clock in the evening, Central Standard Time. We had done previously the Rolica French second position. So now we're looking at Rolica. We backtracked. We're looking at Rolica, the French first position. This is a scenario from the base Commands and Colors Napoleonics game. With, of course, the shake and break Napoleonics Commands and Colors piggyback rules. Switched up the cover there a little bit. Got the pig on the toppled over in, Napoleon in there. So there's that. I've got pretty much this stuff locked down. 4 pages of additional alternative rules. It all plays this so nicely. Good to go. So I had already run through at least a turn, maybe a couple of this scenario. We do have territorial objectives that the British need to capture. One here. And we do have one casualty, being the French light cavalry unit here. That's where it stands. No British cavalry casualties as of yet. So we'll pull this off and re-up what's going on here. Take this away so I don't confuse. What else? As you can see over here, the British heavy cavalry have nailed down this objective over here. So they're good to go. We'll try and run through the rules as strictly as possible so you guys can get it burned into your brain. Know them, love them. All right. So we roll our command rolls. Actually, we reset, and this is new, but it's good. We have commanders in chief. They don't function the same way as leaders. They have a 3 hex command range, and you can siphon off mulligans from them. I really needed commander-in-chiefs in here, but I didn't want them in here to the extent that they changed the dynamic of anything, really. So all they offer is die roll modifiers up to 1 or 2 points for die rolls, and we'll see how that works. So we need to reset that. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. It's up to you. You can look at the scenario and see that the number of command cards for each side is as such. So 6 for the British, 5 for the French. You will subtract 1 for each eliminated unit. So whereas it would typically be 5 command points for the French, there's now 4 for the French light cavalry unit that has been eliminated. And 6, it still remains 6 for the British, which is what it is. Excuse me. A bit of a frog in my throat of late. I think it's allergies. So, roll our command rolls. The commander-in-chief is always in command. You do not roll for him. He's always in command, so you just go to your leaders. So this guy is, and he doesn't have a leadered shit or a numbered shit. He's just pretty much for mulligans. So 9 or less on this guy. Rolled a 6, 7, 8, so he is in command. As are each unit within 2 hexes of him. This guy here, going to need 8 or less. Rolled a 9, he is out of command. That means anybody within 2 hexes of him are going to have to roll their own individual command checks. Then we head to the British side. Now we could have siphoned off a couple points from our commander-in-chief, so you have to declare that before you roll. You can't roll and then see the result and decide to use them after the fact. You have to kind of gamble a bit. To the British, we have commander here. 9 or less is what he'll need. We rolled off of the tray, and again off of the tray. And that time we got it on the tray. So he's in command. I refuse to use dice towers, and I refuse to roll on the map or board or terrain that is being used. So I always use dice trays. Always have, always will. 1, 2, 3. So let's do an example. You can declare, as I said, 2 points from your commander-in-chief if you're within 3 hexes of him. So if we wanted to do that, we can take his 6, drop it to a 4, and have a 2 die roll modifier. So 8 or less minus 2. Guess what? It's probably going to get it, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good thing we did, because he would have failed. But since we did that, he's in command. So bit of a old Grogner's intuition there. 7 or less on this leader. He is too far out of reach for the commander-in-chief to benefit from any of that type of junk. Never you mind, he is in command as well. Then you will, if that'll go on here, you know, these little bases these leaders are on, fit 4 counters perfectly on there. It's awesome. First thing you do is move your commander-in-chief up to 3 hexes. Right now, our British commander is such that we have 2 leaders in command. Now we can move them this way and bring possibly these 2 in command. 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, we wouldn't. So he's kind of stuck where he is. It's pretty much the best spot for him. For our French commander-in-chief, he only has 2 leaders to support, which are supported. So he's good to go where he is. Chits in the cup. Draw a chit. Chits in the cup. French go first, a rare French initiative. And it is leader 4, which is this chap right here. Again, he is in command, therefore, all units within 2 hexes are also in command. This unit, this unit, this unit, this unit. That's 4. We have, let's start with this unit here, firing at the Portuguese. To do that, we consult our converted, handily, yours truly has converted the charts for you. So you look at the French, not the British, French line for 3 strength. You go to right here, and it's going to be 7 or less. So we pick 2 dice, one a different color from the other. We roll 1 team, 7 or less. When we roll a 7, we check, which is a hit. We check the result of the red die, which is a 3. That determines our combat result, which in this case is the lower the better. A 3 is 1 stand is eliminated, so we will drop that Portuguese line unit from 4 strength to a 3 strength. Yes, do. They do not fire back, so we move on to the next, which will be them. These guys are down. This is Portuguese light infantry with a strength of 1. We can get a hit on them. They're gone, and that is a full-strength French light infantry unit who will need to roll 9 or less. I think they probably got this. They did not. Guess what? They rolled an 11. Amazing. Then, now here's another thing to remember. With these combat rolls, you can siphon off from your commander-in-chief if you're within 3 hexes. You have to declare it in advance. Let's go ahead and demonstrate that for you now, shall we? We'll take 2 from 4, drop that to 2, and allow us to drop to, add a -2 die roll modifier to this unit here. Line infantry, full strength, 8 or less, -2. We rolled it, and with a 1 on our red die, that is the best result we can get, which means this unit's not gone. He had a 3 strength. He drops to a 1 strength. He was already shaken, so now he's broken. What else? He will retreat 1 hex. So that guy had a lot happen to him there. He's going to drop back to the woods here. I get the tree to stand up, so he'll fall back. He's down to 1 strength. This is a British line unit here, by the way. These are Portuguese here. Broken. He's in a complete shambles there. Then we take another full strength French line infantry unit and fire at this 2 strength British line unit. It's going to be 8 or less. We rolled an 8. With a 4 on the red die means they're simply shaking in their boots. And she was shaking. Okay. Draw another chit. Will be. Rarely do I get 2 French in a row with 2 commanders to 4 British. And it's not. Again, 6. British 6. Here in command. So all the Portuguese are in command here. What do we want to do? We'll fire. Will we? I have a new way of keeping track of who moved and who fired. I simply change formation. There's no bearing on the game and the rules or anything like that. It's just for visual aid, kind of a mnemonic device. I used to use arrows, and I realized if I just change formation, that can take the place of arrows. So that'll show that they're firing full strength, haven't moved. Same here. These guys will do likewise. They will remain in place and fire full strength, having not moved. Leader stays where he is. There we go. Everybody's happy. Let's roll that up. We'll go to the Portuguese and all the charts now. If you go to the site listed at the video prior to this, the link, click the link. All the nationalities, the charts for each nationality have now been converted for your convenience. So let's start with these guys. Now we will take a modifier for firing uphill. So that is Portuguese light infantry, full strength, right? Nope. They are 1 strength. So 1 strength. Portuguese light infantry firing is still 6 or less, not bad, and drops to a 5 or less for the hill. And wow, they rolled a 2, which I have a tentative critical hit for Snake Eyes, but I just haven't decided or figured out how to work that out yet. So what does that mean? They drop back. That's crazy. With a 1 strength did that. Amazing. Take 2 hits, so they dropped 2. And they're shaking. So that 1 on the red die is the most comprehensive combat result you can get. Done. And now these guys who are Portuguese line, strength of 3, will need a 7 or less, drops to 6 or less for the hill. We got it with a 5. Red 4, they are shaken. And then we have full strength Portuguese line here. Firing will be 8 or less, but we're going to add 1. And I won't get into the particulars of it, but again, due to the faces of the base commands and colors dice, there are less icons for cavalry and artillery than there are infantry, so we have to take that into account, and I have. Thus, they will be firing 8 or less, drops to plus 8 or less, add 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, so they missed. And then what do we want to do with these cavalry who are now 1 strength? Is it worth blowing them out on this light? Why not? Let's die in a blaze of glory here. We have a 1 strength Portuguese suicide unit heading towards a half strength French light cavalry. Let's see what they can do. Portuguese light cavalry, 1 strength, 5 or less. Wow, they actually rolled a 5, got a 3 for their efforts, dropped them to a 1. They'll battle back with 1 die. This is French light cavalry, who will need 6 or less. And they failed, so wow, good on Portuguese there for gambling that move. Next, and that's all that stands currently between Portuguese and the second objective marker. 4, British center and command. We've got a broken unit here that we want to try and rally, so we will roll 5 or less. And the reason we can rally is because, and this has also kind of been sussed out since the last rules version, if you want to rally, your leader needs to be in command, you need to be within command range. So, 5 or less. What do we get? We get an 8. A failed attempt on a broken rally actually upgrades you to shaken status. He's done one. Another one here. Shaken, you can just blow off and do nothing for your action. So he's done. And then we have these 2 units. So this guy is too far away to fire, so we'll move up and do so. Now we will leave them in column formation to denote having moved. So I know that we look at the moving ranged fire. Why? I never thought of this before now. God only knows. I've been using arrows, I've been using this, I've been using that. And artillery would love to fire, but actually, yes, we can. So we'll get to them. They'll be firing. Looks like a perfect flank shot on the French light infantry, and they'll get a bonus for that flank shot. Again, shake and break rules. So yeah, these guys right here, moving range fire, that's British line. It's hot in this house, but it's better than being freezing. Moving range fire, full strength, yes, 6 or less. Drops to 5 or less because of the hill. Roll a 7, got nothing. Done. And then our aforementioned artillery firing a flank shot at French light infantry. That is British foot, 1, 2, 3 hex range. Standing range fire, 6 or less. We roll 12, they run low on ammo. We got it. We rolled a 4 with a 1 on the red die. Guess what? This unit's gone. And I need to remember or elaborate in the rules that a casualty does not immediately drop your commander-in-chief point availability. That is reflected at the beginning of the following turn. So I will note that in the rules. That's an update on the back of these rules. Quickly. Casualty, unit, eliminated unit. Unit does not affect commander-in-chief points until beginning of following turn. Something to that effect. But I need to write this down because I won't remember. And these are only questions that are going to come up for anybody that plays. So, all right, there we go. Done with that. Now that's it. French 3. Not in command. And we only have 1 unit left. And he will have to roll 7 or less. He got a 3. He's in command. He can fire. They're out of range. The only thing within range is this artillery unit, but they'll have to wheel 1 hex corner to face them, and that will count as moving range fire, because guess what? They moved. But now they're within line of sight and all that stuff. So full strength French line, moving range fire, 6 or less, but we've got woods. Drops it to 5 or less. Rolled a 6, just missed it. Probably could have siphoned off and should have, but you don't know ahead of time if you'll need it or not. So they're done. That leaves last unit, British unit 3. These guys over here with him way out of command. So he can't do anything. I mean, if you're out of command range, that's that. You're stuck. We'll simply do nothing there and lose that shaking marker. This guy is down to 1 strength. I think I'm just going to leave him there rather than risk giving a free victory banner to the French. That leaves these two guys, and let's go with the artillery here and move these guys up. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Let's see, 1. We'll put him here. Yep, that's how I want it. Okay, so the horse artillery did not move, and they will be firing 2x range. Is 6 or less becomes 4 or less because of the town. Yeah, couldn't do it. 7. And then moving range fire, probably you're going to not do it either. Moving range fire for full strength British line. 6 or less drops to 4 or less. Yep, 7, nothing. So that's the end of that turn. Very fluid, works just fine. No fuss, no muss. Pull these off. Go to the British, pull those off. So, to talk up the shake and break rules again, they do exactly what I wanted. They beef up the roles of leaders, the command via the combat system. Makes more sense to me. It's got the bell curve worked into the dice rolls, and it pleases greatly. So that's that. We'll put these chips back in the cup. We'll reset our command dice. So now with 2 eliminating units, the French only get 3 command points to work with, and the British still get the full 6 command points. So yes, you reset your command points at the beginning of each turn. To repeat myself, if you don't want to use the allotted points that are mentioned in the scenario, you can roll a 1 dice 6 for a variable command point allotment each turn. It's up to you. What's next? All right, let's roll our command. I really want these guys to pass, so I'm going to go ahead and use 2 of the 3 here and make that a 1. We want 9 or less, -2. Yeah, we got it all day. And command. All right. And then this guy here, not quite as important. There's only 1 unit, 2 command, 8 or less. 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, he failed anyway. And victory banners on here for victory is 5. The British now have 3. Let's go to the British. I'll check the comments in a second. I see that somebody has spoken. I wish not to ignore you. We've got 9 or less here. Passed, mark him. And now you don't have to mark. You can come do this however you like. You can mark units that are in command as such. Or you can mark units that are out of command as such. Or you can do both. I don't know what floats your boat. 8 or less here. He is in command. I typically mark our leaders that are in command and mark them leaders that are out of command, and then mark individual units that are out of command. 7 or less here. Failed it. Out of command. Again, the markers I've been using for this, the number markers for chip pull are from Storm over Arnhem. The leader stat markers are from Advanced Squad Leader, and the in command, not in command markers are from Advanced Squad Leader Solitaire ASL. You can use whatever you want, but that's what I use. The shaken and broken markers are from Old School Tactical. The soldiers are from Warlord Epic Waterloo. A little bit of everything here. All right. What was I going to do? Check the comments. Hey, Eric, it's been a while, huh, buddy? Sunny California. Good for you. It's sunny here as well. So we'll revel in our sunniness together. What else do we got? All right, so let's go ahead and draw. For those of you that don't know, I'll mention that Eric's Tabletop, check him out, his channel. He does a lot of Napoleonic stuff as well. Not all Napoleonic, but he does quite a bit. And it's hardcore hex encounter games that are kind of along the lines of like a digital vassal format. Many episodes and turns to get through some of the stuff he plays. It's big boy stuff. All right, British 3. And British 3 here. So what can we do here? We will move them up and conduct moving range fire here. These guys will fire. These guys will fire line. That's to say standing ranged fire, and they're just staying there. So that's good to go there. All right, so what we got here? That's a 2 strength. It's gonna be Jesus 3 or less. I don't think that's happening. Oh, I got a 3. Look at that. 3 or less. Rolled a 3 with a 2 on the red die. You can't get much better than that unless you roll snake eyes. 2 on a red die. How about that shit? Jeez. So they got to pull out of there. That's interesting. They have to retreat. That's the combat result. That's craziness. Just when you think. And again, that's another aspect of this combat system that obviously appeals. You don't think something's going to happen, and it does, and it's quite an exciting adventure. So they pulled out. All right. I've already declared actions, though, so nobody's going to be moving. And line of sight now blocked for artillery fire by the town. A line of sight blocked for, no, out of range, actually, for the line of. So I kind of should have thought that out better. Wouldn't expect that they would have been eliminated or pushed out of the town, though. All they're going to do is move back in, assuming they pass their. Here's another interesting thing. We'll get to that in a second. Another interesting development, because they retreated into a hex with a leader that is out of command. By my rules, by default, they're automatically out of command. There's no point in even rolling a command check for that unit, as they are in the same hex as a leader who is out of command. So they might be screwed. Another shit. British again. Pulled a 4. That's the center guy. We have this guy will lose his shaken marker, do nothing. And then these 2 units here, he'll do standing ranged fire, full strength. Artillery's got nothing to fire at, so he'll move up and be done. This British foot. So it's just going to be these 2 British units here. And I'm firing an infantry all day here. Is a 2 strength line unit, standing range fire. That's a 7 or less. Uphill drops it to 6 or less. And he rolled it with a 4 and a 1, which is, again, the best result you can get. Cuts him in half. Pushes him back. And shakes him. Boy, that 1 result is brutal. And now these guys, full strength, 9 or less, uphill, 8 or less. 6, 7, 8, 9 just missed it. That's the end of that. Looks like the British are going to win again. The French these days don't seem to do very well. French 4, this guy here, 1, 2, remove shaken, remove shaken, remove shaken, out of command. That's the only guy we have left we can do anything with. Full strength line infantry firing at a full strength British line. For the French, that means 8 or less. I think I can do this. And then until I don't. It's a 4 with a 3 on the red die. That's merely 1 casualty, so they'll drop to a 3 strength. And that's the end of that. 2 chits left, 1 French, 1 British. Who do we get? We get the French. That's our 3 here. I'm going to go ahead and say, and stick to what I wrote, that if you have a French unit that has a hex that is shared with an out of command leader, you can't roll individual command. You're out of command. That's that. Feel free to share your thoughts on that. But that's how I'm working it. So that's the end of that. And then the final British chit is the 6, which is what the Portuguese, also out of command. So I need to roll for all of these guys here. Let's start with our light cavalry. 7 or less, they are in command. Our line infantry, 8, they are out of command. I need to mark them, so remember that. Can't do anything. 3 or less. No, I'm sorry. Still 7 or less. Rolled it with a 6, and then the final unit here, 7. So they all got it except 1. Let's see what this Portuguese light cavalry can do again. Can they knock out that final strength point of the French there, French light cavalry? If they did, they need to do a 5 or less. So no, not this time. Now the French will battle back. Light cavalry, 1 strength point, 5 or less. And they failed as well. So that is to be continued. These guys are going to fire. Hill, that's 3 strength British or Portuguese line. 7 or less drops to 6 or less for the hill. Failed. And these guys are going to simply move here. And we can do moving ranged fire, huh? We got somebody in range there. Like blocking the camera. Let's see. Portuguese light infantry, 1 strength, moving ranged fire. 5 or less drops to 4 or less for the hill. And as expected, nothing doing there. That is the end of that turn. Let me mark 1 thing on the rule. So far, I've only had to consider 2 things in our rules. The basic music. Where did I see that? Not seeing rest. All right. Got leaders here. In command. Wow, I don't see that. Same hex. Leader. Out of command. Equals unit. Out of command. Okay, another turn. Let's clean house. These guys. This poor French right flank, I think, is going to all but completely collapse. It's only a turn or 2 left, probably, and then the British will have it officially. They're not even using their command points. That's how well they're doing. French down to 3 command points. Shit's back in the cup. All right, let's roll it up. Can't see because I'm blind. 9 or less here. I should have, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I should have siphoned off a couple points here because guess what? I failed. I rolled a 10. You know, I'm going to go ahead and use 2 here because, and I could use 1, but I'm going to go ahead and use 2. 8 or less, minus 2. Roll a 6. He would have had it anyway, but I want to make damn well sure These guys go back in that town. That's the only thing that's propping up this French right flank. If they can't occupy that town, it's going to fold. 9 or less here. Passed. 8 or less here. Failed. Now remember, you can still use siphon off commander-in-chief points for individual units that are trying to pass command as well, so not all is lost. 7 or less there. Or 2, good to go. Everybody's back in action except for the British center leader. Now we draw shit. British go first. It's gonna be the Portuguese. 1, 2, 1, 2. Everybody's in command. I'm gonna start with this Portuguese light cavalry again, down to 1 strength point, 5 or less. Oh, they rolled a 5. This could be it. With a red on the 2 on the red die. I think I remember what that is. Causes them to retreat. That's fine. I'll just retreat to the objective X here. How about that? They'll move up and take ground. And the French won't battle back because they retreated. That's how that works, folks. These guys will have to pivot 1 hex corner, so that'll count as a move. These are, again, shake and break stuff that you're witnessing. We'll put them in column to denote having moved, and thus use moving ranged fire. That's a full strength line unit. Wow, okay, Portuguese line, moving ranged fire. 6 or less, got the hill, so 5 or less. Roll a 7, nothing doing. These guys, 3 strength, do not need to do anything but fire. 7 or less, drops to 6 or less. Couldn't do it. And these guys, 1 strength, having not moved. It's going to be what, 5 or less? Let's look. Ooh, look, here's just something interesting. So, can't do moving ranged fire if you're down to 1 strength point and your Portuguese line. Well, they're not. They're light. So never mind. It is 5 or less. Drops to 4 or less for the hill. Couldn't do it. Well, that's interesting. No moving range fire for 1 strength line. Okay. All right. British 3. That's our left flank. Yes, it is. In command. So these 3 units. And, you know, we can move here, but that's the closest we're going to get as line. If we were light, we could roll in there. Let's go here. Conduct moving range fire this way. What about foot artillery? What can we do with them? Can they move? Here's a question. Can the foot artillery move into that town? I'm sorry, horse artillery. 2 in that, 1 in battle, 2 in not battle. Now let's see if there's any restrictions. And this is just going by the base commands and colors game. Artillery, move into. Where's our? Okay, yeah, No, I can't because I'm using my own limber rules. So I would have to limber, which counts as 1 move, and then move 1 hex, which counts as our second move. They can only move 2. So all they can do is move adjacent, and now they're unlimbered and adjacent to the town. So I don't know if that's good or bad. But I'm probably going to stay unlimbered. I don't know. Those guys can't do anything. They can't do anything. They're staying there. Okay, that leaves moving range fire here. British line, full strength. And even full strength, even moving range, you're still 6 or less, which is pretty good. Now, that's a flank shot. We did get it, and the flank shot doesn't even matter because we rolled a 2. So they pull back again, getting further away from that town. They're going to take 2 hits, so that cut them in half with that shot. And they can be pushed off table and be eliminated, so there's that as well. If they are, he's going to go with them. We have to do a leader casualty check. Oh, he is. Actually, he is wounded. I'll show you why. So here's another counter we can add to our leader stand, which fits, as mentioned, 4 counters. Shaken. Those guys will stay there. So there's that. All right, now our wound counter is also from a squad leader. Looks like a little red cross. You can use whatever you like. We mark him with a wound counter. What does that mean? That means his stat of 8 drops to 7. So for command checks, etc., he drops a level. If he gets wounded again, he's gone and replaced with a leader of lower rank, next lower rank. So he'd be replaced with a 7 -0 leader. So he was wounded. All right, good job there. What's left? I'd say the French right is officially collapsed at this point. There's not a lot they can do now. French 3 is activated. Great. So if they do nothing, they can just remove shaken, but that doesn't amount to a whole hill of beans there. And then we've got British leader number 4, who's our center leader that failed his command check. So now we do individual unit command checks. This guy, I'm not even going to worry about. He's down to 1 strength. These 1 strength units are just easy pickings and easy victory banners for the opposing side. So failed command here. And that's our command check there. So that's all we can do with our center. Everybody else is out of command range. So we can fire with these guys. That's 2 strength, standing range fire, 6 or less. Drops to 5 or less for the hill. Add 1 for the artillery. That makes 4, 5, 6, 7. So nothing going on. Last chit is our left wing commander, who is, guess what, out of command. These guys are out of range, so they can't attack. Well, hold on. We'll come back to that. Nope, they're out of command range, so they're stuck. And that leaves 1, 2, these 4 units here, so let's roll them up. 7 or less there, we got it. What about these guys? They failed. What about these guys? We're wanting 7 or less here. 5, they failed as well. This is not good. And finally, this 2 strength unit here, 7 or less. Let's go ahead and use our last 2 command points from the commander-in-chief. 7 or less minus 2 pays off because we rolled an 8. That gets us down to 6, so they are in command. Awesome. So let's move them back up, and they'll conduct moving ranged fire at half strength. Let's go ahead and do that before I forget these. French line, moving range fire, 2 strength, 5 or less. We rolled a 4 with a 1 on the red die. That's awesome. This guy drops to 1. Fun stuff, fun stuff. He's shaken, drops to 1, and gets pushed back. So the French are not done yet. And then out of command. The final unit here will fire at the Portuguese light infantry unit that's down to 1 last strength point, 1 stand, as I like to refer to it. So French line, standing range fire, 3 stands, 7 or less. We do this. Oh, yeah. Rolled a 5, did it with a 2 on the red die, but fortunately, a 2 on the red die only means a retreat, so not the result we wanted. Things just don't seem to be working out for the French. Any other day, that'd be an eliminated unit. That's the end of the chit. So we're going to do one more round here. Final round for this viewing and see if we can end it. Whether we end it or not, that's fine. I'm going to eat after this. So I have yet to eat. Why am I putting them in here? I have yet to eat dinner. So we've got our wounded leader over here with the collapsed right flank and a single half-strength unit propping up the French right. It's pitiful. Just pitiful. British looking just fine. No worries, no concerns. Even the Portuguese right flank is holding their own quite admirably. So, all right, let's roll these commands. Reset our French. I don't think we used any. No, we didn't. 4. Oh, I've lost the dang. Here it is. 5 drops to 3. Still at 3 there. All right, let's roll. I'm going to use 2 of these command points again and drop him to 1, and that'll be a -2 die roll modifier for our 9 ranked leader. So 9 or less -2. He rolled a 7, good to go anyway. But I wanted to be safe and make that command roll. Now everybody within 2 hexes is automatically in command. This guy over here, he's wounded. Would typically need an 8 or less, but because he's wounded, now it's a 7 or less. I'm going to go ahead and use the final command point on him. So 7 or less -1. We failed. No, we did not. We rolled an 8. -1 is 7, so he's good. So those command points from our commander-in-chief really paid off here. And that's essentially the whole function and role of the commander-in-chief. It doesn't overly imbalance anything or mess up the dynamic or flow of other things. That's really all he's used for, commander-in-chief there. Now we'll head to the British for their roles. Fireless here. He's in command. Our center leader, who is an 8. We want 8 or less there. Let's go ahead and drop this command point thing to a 6. I'm sorry, a 4. If I could, what the hell? There's a 4. Jesus. So 8 or less -2, 6, 7, 8. He's fine anyway. Portuguese commander far too often benefit from commander-in-chief morsels. So it's just 7 or less there. And guess what? He failed it. Put a spotlight on him and he couldn't take the heat. Failed that. All right, final turn of this viewing. Yeah, the rule system is not for lack of banging out wrinkles and stuff. It's coming together pretty good. Thank you. Here we go. Let's see if the British can end it. French go first, a rare French initiative. Our left-wing commander, who is in command, ready to pop it off. Problem is, light cavalry's not, but they want to stay there anyway and hold that objective. So that leaves these 4 units here. Let's fire with this guy. Just hop to it there. 3 strength line infantry. Standing range fire, 7 or less. Rolled a 5 with a 4 on the red die, so all that does is shake this unit and cost them an action at some point. What else? These guys will move up and do moving ranged fire. 2 strength, moving ranged fire. These guys who are down to a 1. Come on, we got to get rid of them. That is a light infantry. 2 strength, so 6 or less. We couldn't do it. Rolled a 9. Let's see if these guys can. That's full strength line infantry. 8 or less. Rolled a 6, 2 on a red die. Another stinking retreat result. Cannot get what we want here. And we have 6 possibilities on our red die for our combat results. One of them is a retreat. And damned if we don't keep rolling that when we can knock this unit out with its just 1 strength point left. That does not count as a fallen tree for those of you that do shots when I knock a tree over. Does anybody do that really? Be interesting. No. Tree is drunk. Okay, that's done. What else? Yeah, these combat results for if you get a hit again. Here on the right, you'll see the red die combat results. That's your probabilities from higher to lower, lower being the better result. So that's what we're looking at there. I like them. I like them. I like them. Finally, these guys, I guess we'll fire there. They didn't move, so this should be standing ranged fire, half strength, French line 2. That's going to be 6 or less. And 1 with 9, so nothing going on there. Well, we got 4 chits left. Who will it be? The Russian 4, that's the center. They'll lose a shaken marker and do nothing. This guy is in command, by the way. That leaves these 2 1-strength units that I'm not going to mess with. Actually, we have 3 units that are 1 strength, but they're out of range, so no victory bands for the French unless they move up. And I don't see that happening. The only thing we can really do, and the French center has been held back quite admirably by the French. That's where most of their stuff is, so that makes sense. But yet and still, 2 strength British line unit is going to be 7 or less, but they're firing uphill, so that's 6 or less. Roll a 7. So no candy for them. And I thought the British would have finished the French off by now. We only need 5 victory banners. They've got 3. So I don't know what the hey-hoo, and this stinking light cavalry unit's been hanging on for dear life. French 3, here's our in-command single unit here. He's going to try and retake the town. Let's do it this way and do moving ranged fire. We will move and pivot 1 hex corner. Take our wounded commander with us. And fire at this line infantry here. So what is this? French line, moving range fire, 2 strength, 5 or less. Rolled an 8, so that's not what we wanted. 2 chits left, both British. What do we get? We get the Portuguese. Can the Portuguese help us put an end to this? Once again, with our light. Nope. Out of range. So we'll have to move our leader. No, he's out of command. Well, ain't that a pickle? All right, so we got to roll individual command for these 2. We can't for him because he's completely out of command range of our leader. So it leaves these 2 units here, 7 or less. Roll a 6, good to go. And for God's sakes. 7 or less here. He failed command. Mark him with a panic marker. So what does that leave? Just this guy? All right, one more thing. So bear with me here. Okay, now that leaves this guy is all we have. He didn't move, so he'll do full strength standing range fire uphill. That is Portuguese line. It's going to be an 8 or less, drops to 7 or less. Do we get a flank shot? You know, I'm going to say yes on the flank shot there. 1 die roll. Let's see, red combat die result. So we did get our hit. That's 4, 5, 6. Which isn't that what I said? Oh, I've forgotten. Bless me. All right, so that was line infantry full strength. 8 or less drops to 7 or less. We rolled a 6. 2 on the red die, but because it's a flank shot, that red die drops to a 1. And that's our best result. So he'll go from a 3 to a 1. Withdraw 1 hex. And take a shaken marker. So that's how your flank shots work. They will drop your red combat die by 1. And remember, the lower the better on that red combat die. So we got the best result possible because of that flank shot. Next, our final chit. Red 3, and that is our British left. We'll go ahead and he doesn't have a command marker. I'm confused. I didn't put a command marker on him. I'm not sure why. We'll go ahead and move them up. Into the town. We beat the French, took the town. That is officially the end of the French right flank. So there's that. And then we'll unlimber our horse artillery, who can also fire, albeit with a penalty. But they'll still stay there and unlimber and fire because they can do 2 moves or 1 move in battle. These guys will stay where they are, fire full strength, standing range fire. So a lot going on here. Let's resolve this. I think this might be the end of all of the French right. We'll start here, moving range fire. British line 2 strength is 5 or less. Nope, that's not going to be fire. It has to be melee because they're adjacent. So let's regroup. Number stands is 2, so that's 6 or less. -1. We rolled an 8, drops to a 7, didn't get it. Now, why is it a -1? Because again, when you consider the faces of the commands and colors dice, it determines what you're more likely to get hits at. So infantry are easier to hit, etc. The way I've worked that into this is the -1 die roll modifier in melee. British foot artillery, I'm sorry, I keep calling it that. Horse artillery, 2x range, and it is moving range fire. Full strength, that's really? How are we supposed to? That's wrong. Let me look at this one here. Horse artillery, moving range fire. 2, let's see. 6 or less. Rolled a 4 with a 3 on the red die. What is that? So 3 on the red die, we're going to lose a point, so that drops into 1. It's going to be the end of this unit here because we've got these guys now that can fire full strength, line infantry, standing range fire, 9 or less. This is the end of this unit. Rolled an 8. Guess what? The 4 on the red die means shaken, so no, it's not the end of that unit. Isn't that something? Hanging on for dear life, and that's the end of that. So that was a few rounds for you guys. And it's working just fine. Everything's working the way it should be. I like it. It's fun. Adds the desired amount of flavor that I feel like was missing from me in the base game. And very satisfying. Very satisfying. Let me pull these. I'm just cleaning the house here, and then I'll close with closing arguments for our Friday night. Slight possibility you see me again later tonight. We'll see. Main priority after this is going to eat. So, to recap, need 5 victory banners to win. The British have 3. The French have none. We do have a 1 strength unit here, a 1 strength unit here, here, and here. That is 4. Oh, and 1 here. So that's 5 units that are potential victory banners for the French, but 4 of them are staying out of range. Now that would, you might ask yourself, maybe now is the time for the French to advance and do a counteroffensive and finish those guys off, but that could end poorly. There's no guarantee that works the way you want it to. Otherwise, French right is done. These guys are down to 1 strength. That's going to be the 4th victory banner. There's your 5th victory banner right there. That's how I'm going to call it as far as an end game. Unless these guys, they're down to 1, unless they fall. Either way, because we've got 2 Portuguese units that can kind of, I guess, outflank the French, who seem to just, again, be intent on hanging out in the center there and not moving. So that's that. As far as rules, anything in particular I want to comment on? No. I've already stated that all these charts are done now. I did not create these charts. These are from a particular Board Game Geek user. I forget how to pronounce his name. I converted them, though. So you've got Great Britain, France, Portugal, Spain, Austria, Russia, and Prussia, all converted for your convenience. So all you need to do is look at the number and know what you need to roll, equal or less than, to do your stuff. Now, there are minor issues. Anything that's highlighted has been unresolved. So there are a few minor issues, but overall, this stuff's good to go for your tabletop. Again, there's the rules cover I'm very proud of. You got the piggyback rules here with the pig on the toppled over in. Very proud of that. Whole cover that I've developed there. And then the rules, again, the rules proper consist of 4 pages with a big font. We're not looking at tiny font here. And they range from, first page is charts. So you've got your to hit and your red die combat result. Modifiers, then it drops to your pregame setup. You've got your turn sequence, describes what leaders do, their role, their function, being in command and out of command and how that works, description of combat and how that works. Because again, this is a 2-dice 6 system. We're not using fistfuls of dice. The combat results explained, and those range from morale check to shaken. There is no broken result. A shaken unit that is shaken again becomes broken. That's how you get that. Remove 1 stand, remove 2 stands, leader wounds. Facing is in here, as it should be. And that's spoken of and described briefly, which allows for flank attacks. I tried my damnedest to get formation particulars in here with line and column, and I wedged it in here, but it's like taking a hammer to a puzzle piece that doesn't fit. It just didn't belong, so I took it out again and left it. I really do believe the base game accounts for that in an abstract way with the moving and the die roll modifiers for having moved. Don't know what that is. Is that an ant? Okay, a little spider. So that's in here, and then additional optional, as I call it, additional optional odds and sods. So again, with your Commander-in-Chief points, which is the latest and final update to the rules with your Commander-in-Chief. And all they really do is provide points that you can siphon off of to help with rallies, morale checks, combat, and command rolls. So instead of having it listed in a scenario, you look at the number of command cards to determine how many command points you have. It's a card for point equal translation. You can opt to roll 1d6 each turn. Those are reset each turn. And that's it. That's your rules. And it's also, these are operating under the assumption that you have at least some familiarity with the base game. Here's where all the foundational concepts are found here. So that's that. A joy to play. It's not perfect. I don't know anything that is, but I sure have a blast pushing stuff around with these rules. And again, they're found in the, if you find the link that is in the video prior to this one or something, click on that link. It'll take you to where you want to be, and you can download these rules and the charts and have a go at it yourself. If there's nothing else, I think I'll cut you guys loose. I'm going to go eat dinner. Again, may see you guys tonight. Not sure. See how I feel. Could be tomorrow as well. On Sunday. Did I say today was Friday at the beginning of the video? This is a Saturday, is it not? It is. All right. I'm getting something to eat. I'm going to lose consciousness. Take care, guys.